As you make it to the end of the block, you see this big church in the background that we have to enter. And now, because of that church, you can guarantee Nintendo of America would have never brought this game over the North American shores. And there's some stuff coming up in just a little bit, especially the boss battle coming up. That's probably another reason why this game would never have made it over. As you make it to the end here, all of a sudden this weird satanic guy shows up in the background and starts summoning some monsters to attack us. He starts off first with a bunch of these flying bats that are going to move around the level. When the bats dive down low, that's your opportunity to take them out. I don't think you have to take out a certain amount to continue on, because after just a little bit, they'll stop summoning the bats and actually walk onto the pentagram that's in the middle of the floor and change forms into the image of a goat, which is one of the more satanic images, and is another reason why this game could never have been brought over. The goat, however, is pretty easy to take out, because anytime you hit him, he ends up then doing another quick jump and gives you another opportunity to hit him. The worst times is every once in a while he'll start jumping farther and farther, and by doing so he may accidentally land on you, but really easy to contend with. Just keep hitting him, and after a little bit he will explode, and then we end up back outside in another part of the neighborhood. After we make it to another part of the block, we end up entering this house, and we get a little bit of a parody of the movie The Fly. Once the transformation has been complete, you have this weird human fly that's above you, and then it starts dropping little tiny flies that you have to take out. Be sure to take out as many as possible as they do drop, and then get ready, because after every 4 or so, the fly will do a drop-down swoop at you, and that's going to be your opportunity to actually be able to hit it. After this battle is completed, and you've defeated the fly, move actually into the teleporter that the fly came out of. This will actually teleport you to the Japanese stage, which is one of the 2 bonus stages that contains the crystals for the alternate ending. When you make it to the end, enter the middle door to move on to the next part of the stage. In here, we have to first contend with some of these jumping umbrella demons, which is a classic Japanese monster. While contending with them, slowly make your way up as you can jump from platform to platform and jump up the roof. And when you make it to the top, enter this door. Once inside here, watch out for these demon maids that are going to try to throw hot tea at you, as well as the weird things falling from the ceiling that looks like, I guess, green broken bamboo. Be sure to avoid it, and when you make it to the end, you'll walk into this door, and you'll complete the Japanese stage. You get to see this Japanese woman perform this dance, and then she'll give you the crystal. If you really want to, you can gross her out by pressing the button, and you will fart. I'm not joking, you can actually fart during this scene. After her dance number, and me deciding not to gross her out, and taking the high-class route, I have gotten the first of the 2 crystal balls, and now we actually move on in the game and go to stage number 4. Stage number 4 is Diamond Lake, a play-off, of course, of Crystal Lake from the Friday the 13th films. As we begin this stage, you'll have to jump from the water onto platforms, avoiding some more of the spikes that we first saw in the sewer area. The normal zombies are back, pretty easy to take out. However, we have to deal with some bats, but we also get our first other weapon of the game in the shotgun, probably the best weapon from the Splatterhouse series. You even get a little knockback animation every time that you shoot it off. So that can be a little bit annoying, but it gives it some extra realism if there was any in this game. You do get to keep it as you enter the next part of the stage and deal with these bats, and you actually can hit more than one bat with a single shot. You can use your shotgun to take out the skeletons before they can jump out of the water at you, and over these platforms, be careful when jumping over the spikes, so that you make your jumps right as they're coming back to you so you don't take any damage. Thankfully, there is a health item there to give us some health back if we did get hit. In the next part, we have to deal with a whole bunch of killer sharks. Pay attention to what way the fin is moving. If the fin goes off screen on the right, it's going to come at you from the right side of the screen, and if the fin goes to the left, it's going to attack you from behind you on the left side of the screen. Just be prepared for what side it's coming and jump over accordingly. When you make it to the end of this area, you walk along this shore, the background will start flashing and we begin our boss battle of this stage. Now this boss is relatively tough as you have to avoid not only the projectiles, but get ready to attack him wherever he's about to drop from. Pay close attention to where he spawns so that you know where to stand when the projectiles actually start coming at you. Thankfully, in the arcing way that they do move, you'll have a pretty big gap between at least two of them to move in between and not take too much damage. Every time he drops down, just be sure to be able to move in that direction and deliver a hit with your axe in order to do damage. After only a few hits, you move on to stage number 5. Stage number 5 takes place in the campground area of Diamond Camp, and we have some new enemies, including these hanging zombies that their body breaks apart from them and then starts attacking you. You also get these spiders that jump out from the background. Inside the cabin, be sure to watch out for, once again, the spikes that are coming out of the ground. They're pretty easy to deal with, and watch out for the hand that throws dishes at you. When you make it to the end, jump into this hole, and you'll end up in another sewer-like area where the water is very quickly filling up, and you want to make sure that you make it to the end and go inside the door in order to avoid getting smashed by the spikes at the ceiling. The next part, you have some weird creatures coming out of paintings that look like the famous painting The Scream. Deal with those enemies with a quick hit from the axe, and then move on to the next part of the campground, which is pretty much the exact same things that we dealt with in that first part. Be careful when trying to jump over the spikes. I'm not exactly sure if you actually can make it over that final jump. Enter the cabin for the last part of this stage. Inside here, if a bucket does fall on your head, you end up seeing your eyes through the bucket. It actually is one of the cooler looking effects. In here is our boss battle of the stage. It's a little boy who then transforms into a pretty crazy werewolf. The werewolf uses a force field around himself, and you won't be able to attack him during that. He then launches out different projectiles that bounce around the room for a certain amount of time. So of course, attack him when the force field is down, and do your best to try to avoid the projectiles, but they aren't as bad since when they do bounce, you should be able to get a nice gap in the middle where you'll be able to walk in between the two. After you defeat the werewolf, he transforms back into the little kid, and you move on to stage number 6. At the beginning of stage number 6, you get the shotgun back, so you can use that 10 more times. Do your best to try to avoid the 2 pumpkins as you make your way to the top part of the stage, and then start working your way to the right. So there's some more pumpkins, as well as another shotgun to refill your ammo with it, so you can easily take out the flying enemies, and once again, you can hit more than one enemy with a single shot. When you make it to the end, jump over the pools of acid that are floating around, and then jump up another path to this top part. We have some more pools of acid and some bats to deal with, and then we have to move up a little bit farther to reach the Hell House. Once you reach the door of the Hell House, you end up entering, and that's actually the end of the stage. There is no boss of stage number 6. Stage number 7 is the final stage of the game and contains our second warp to get the second of the 2 crystals. In the house, watch out for the spikes coming out of the ground and drop down the hole.